What's up, Lorcana people? Just wanted to do a quick State of the Collector Union address. I've seen a lot of interesting commentary online, and usually I just kind of let it slide, but I thought I'd pop in my 2 cents. For those of you who are newer to the channel and don't know me, welcome. My name is DisneyDadCanada, but you can call me Mike. And my background in card collecting is that I'm a longtime, baseball lifer. Collected baseball memorabilia and cards since I was a little boy, and have gotten into TCGs through Disney and Lorcana. I have 2 kids under the age of 10. We play together, we bond together, and I've flipped a lot of my sports collection into this hobby because, quite frankly, I'm halfway through my life. Nobody cares about baseball as much as I do in my family. And I enjoy the memories that I'm making with my kids, collecting, playing Disney Lorcana. We are a Disney family. We've been to the parks a few times. We've been on a couple cruises. If you follow along, Disney Dad Canada is not just a clever nickname. It's like I and my family are living this out a little bit right now. So I do feel reasonably qualified to speak on the collecting market because that was the initial appeal to me. Before I learned how to play the game, I started to collect, and I thought it was great. I thought it was highly underrated. I think despite Ravensburger, the producer of the game's missteps in terms of the way they've rolled it out, and they made I feel like every time they do something well, they do something poorly, but neither here nor there. In the end, I think this game continues to have potential collector legs because of the IP, the intellectual property in Disney alone. And I think you can screw something up a few times and still have the grace of people like me who are now connected through these core memories, whether it be in their childhood or whether in their parenthood, and have either come to this game as a collector or come as a casual interested, and then latched on to the really great art, the massive collector appeal. And now, a new release in Wilds Unknown, which introduced Pixar and specifically the Toy Story franchise, but it's branching out into the bigger Disneyverse. And so but I see a lot of commentary online about where this is as a collector's product, and I think that I can only speak from my perspective, and I would only feel qualified to speak from my perspective. First of all, you should do exactly what you want with the money that you have. You should not spend beyond your means. You should take from what I believe in, taking from what I have in my collection to enjoy what I want to in this hobby. But that's the way I do it, and that's the way I'm able to make it viable for me and my kids to do this. Now, I have gone from being a collector first to very much a player first with a little collecting on the side. In fact, I've recently with the release of Fabled and just the buzz amongst collectors, I feel like people are getting priced out on Pokemon packs, and guys like me, gals like our age, mid 40s, living it up with their kids here. Kind of nostalgia's rubbed the collecting, the card community the last 5 years and really made it pop, sports cards and TCG alike. I think a lot of people have dipped their toes into Lorcana after they saw what the iconic Mickey cards were going for, what was apparently a short printed set. I still think they're going to print some more of that, by the way, but neither here nor there. I actually think once we're done with Wilds Unknown, we'll see some more Fabled leading up to Christmas. You can't support this game as a quasi-competitive card game and not have access to the core set that's going to be around for another year or so. So I digress on that. That's why I'm actually auctioning off my Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard graded card. Feel free to follow along on the channel because that's currently with Slab Sharks here in Canada, and I'm hoping that'll get a decent sale by Saturday night. But anyway, so what do I think about Wilds Unknown? That was a long 4-minute chat leading up to this, but what do I think about this current product and its collectability and where Lorcana is going in the collector's field? So I do think that they're catering more to the player, and this has always been, and I think it's they've been very clear that these puzzle making people that have put out this game, they have always been clear that this needs to be a mass market, more casual than competitive game. And I get that because Disney is the ultimate family casual situation. The most joy I have is playing this at home with my kids and then taking this into the streets and playing in the local card games, old local cards set championships and all, and the pre-release. We had a great time with the pre-release But do I think that with the obviously increased hit race, more legendaries, more iconics, or sorry, more, I shouldn't say that, more enchanteds in cases, more what appears to be better foil hit rates for the rare, the super rares and the legendaries. If you're in this collecting game and you've been here a little while like me, you know this was a special set because you were getting more of what you wanted, and with that, you've seen a detraction in the value of the price of the resale market. So let me break it down for you. We bought over pre-release and troves and one booster box. We ended up with 96 packs, which is exactly what you would get in a case of Lorcana. Now, I'm Canadian and I talk in funny money normally, but I'm gonna try and do my best conversion here. A case of Lorcana cards in US dollars should probably cost in around, I'm assuming, like if it's $600 Canadian, which is what I get my cases for up here, I am imagining that is somewhere in the 420 to 450 US dollar price point for a case. So feel free to comment if that's incorrect, but that's my rough conversion math there. I think that's about right. 400 to max 450 US. This has been a popular set. If you got on it later, you probably paid something like that. So anyways, we opened 96 packs. We got one enchanted. We got 7 epic cards, and we got 40 legendaries, including 5 foils. I totaled that up, rough math, in my head, and it came out to roughly 400 US dollars. So we came out okay, and that's not even including the super rare playables that we got, and all the uncommon and common cards that we will have fun with. We play quasi competitive decks, but usually even the best deck that we play never tends to have more than 100 US dollars worth of cards in it, maybe a little bit more if we're feeling frisky, but if we traded for something at locals. But we don't run the decks with the Dumbos. We don't run the decks with the $50 US cards. To get a play set of 200 US dollars for 4 cards out of 60 cards. I don't roll like that, nor do I see the point. But what we've been able to do is I look at all of this and I say, okay, often what I'll do is if I rip extras, I will trade away certain things to try and fund what we want, whether it be trading for a specific enchanted card that me or the kids are interested in, trading a bunch of cold foils and bulk, which I'll probably still do, honestly, to the people who collect full foil sets. But so I made out okay on the value. And as somebody who's going to play most of these cards and got a lot of stuff that I need to play, lots of Dale cards. That's one of the better ones to play this time around. I've filled in the gap with about with a handful of cards off of the equivalent of a TCG player, or here in Canada it's Card Cub. Shout out Card Cub. Great little website. I've been in touch with the owner there. But yeah, so and then store credit and whatever I am to kind of like making this something where we can play new decks, get our Toy Story cards, have fun with it, and go from there. But I see people complaining that this is no longer a collector's product, and I think that you should be. Here's how I'm approaching it as a guy who loves to collect, but it also sees. I agree. This is becoming much more of a fun product to open than a fun product to flip, and that's okay, because I still think there are opportunities to collect on the cheap. I think that promo cards and glitter foils and all these sweet holo foils, that's where I tend to pick up these $2, $3, $5 promo cards and just sit on them now until this game, becomes a household thing. If all the Disney people get on it, I've seen, I like the Magical Places Park promos, if I can get those on the cheap or trade for them. So I have faded away from chasing the pack value, because the pack value is decreasing. If you're getting more hits in a box or a pack or whatever it is, your sealed product, and it's very obvious that that you are with this set, and I imagine it will continue, because one of the things people complained about the most in collecting Lorcana was that the hit rates were so atrocious that they could never make their money back, right? So that's not a problem anymore. You will I have made my value back, and if I were a collector first, I would probably struggle to it would be a real pain to sell off all these cards and try and make it back to zero. And I could see if I had gotten the wrong legendaries, we got pretty good luck on a lot of them, and they are highly playable, much more valuable ones. So we'll keep them and we'll play them for the next little bit. But I could see if you got the other way around and you got some of the $2 and $5 legendaries, like, you might be upset at this. So coming from the collector's background, this is all a roundabout way, 10 minutes in, of saying, I am not going to collect the same way that I did before. I am going to continue to get the lower value stuff because I think that's affordable and responsible for me and my kids. I will continue to invest in the player side. I will continue to trade in all of the high value playable singles 1.5 sets before rotation, which is what I did this time. Was able to glean a lot of value on my Clarabelle cards. I kept the Maui Sharks because I thought I might play them, but a lot of the ones that were 20, 30, 40 US dollar cards that we had, I traded them in when they were still at that value, and they're now in the tank because everybody sees that it's going. So I will always jump the shark. I will always jump the Maui Shark on this and trade them in early, but I will also open less packs going forward. So what we will do as a family, now that the playable singles market is refreshingly cost effective, and I don't have to worry about buying the best cards out of the set and spending $200 US for a play set of the hotness, I will now focus on the pre-release because it has the exclusive promos. I think that those are fun cards, and if you know anything about your Pokemon cards, your Black Star promos, things like that, they will always hold more value than the exact same card or the equivalent card that's open in a pack or the close to it or the comparable. So I think that collector's mindset will hold suit. I think the glimmer foils you get out of the collector's boxes are great ads. I think the holo foils you get out of the starter decks, you can find those cheap. I think those are worth acquiring, maybe holding, maybe grading eventually if grading ever becomes cheaper, or you can find a grading sale one day, and that's your way you want to flip and collect. But I am not interested in, I don't want to spend the money on enchanteds because I think they're very plentiful, and I think they will actually go down in price a fair bit over the short term, and I think this will be a cascading wave of price reduction in enchanteds as people realize how much more are being printed and how much more are being accessible, and as this game grows and more things are being printed. Lorcana has shown that they will reprint sets often, so I'm not concerned about them doing that as well. I fully believe they will reprint this set. So yeah, like, what do I think about the future of Lorcana? The play is go to pre-release, play some sealed, have a chance to beat the local awesome players that you usually get absolutely trounced by because they're better than you, and you have a chance with a non-meta deck, something that's a even playing field. Maybe you rip some hits, maybe you don't, and then you spend about a third of what you normally do, and you go out and you buy the enchanted you want eventually, a set and a half down the road when it's cheap, or you buy the playables you want 5 or 6 days after release and they're super cheap and everybody's trying to flood the market to get rid of it. I think that in the next little while, if this has become a collector's thing and we see the Pokemon people are here, I actually think there's gains to be made for the original Lorcana crowd. So that's my message right now. That's how I'm going to play it out, and I think it's a wise move, and I think it's a cost-effective move, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hey, but like, I don't want to be wasting too much money here. I want to really enjoy it, and again, I think most people, I think if you're like me and you've brought your kids in on this, I really think that you probably want to play the game as well. And if you haven't, I really recommend you do, because it's actually a really fun game. Keeps me sharp. Become basically the only hobby that I have here outside of coaching the kids, doing a little bit of fantasy baseball, stuff like that. But this has been a great home for me, and I think that I can spend less, enjoy it more, and still get the playable cards and lengthen my budget, strengthen it over time. So I'd be curious if you agree with me. That is my initial impressions on the Wilds Unknown set release. I've had a really good time. Probably put together a little video of what we did and all of our hits and all the fun that we had over the course of the next few days here. But fun set. I don't know if it's. Some people are maybe saying that the card strength is not as good. Who cares? There's a lot of fun cards to play right now. A lot of cool combos, some new stuff to try out, and we are only 9 weeks away from rotation. So lots to be excited about, I think, in the game, and I think it's going to continue to grow. They figured out the promo stuff. They figured out a little bit of collector's appeal, and yet still made it mainstream viable. I think it's actually the perfect mix for a Disney product. So until next time, thanks for watching. God bless you guys, and all the best. Take care.